in South Africa, we are very energy wise. We sleep at night and we switch the lights off. Honorable Professors Mugendi Vazoli, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It is a great privilege and honor to be able to address you here at this very important event. Firstly, I would like to pay tribute to the Lenses Group for the outstanding work that they have carried out and noble cause that they have embarked upon. I'm proud to be part of this initiative. Now, my expertise and background has been that of a mechanical engineer. My research has led many of my colleagues to call me a farmer, more often a fish farmer. This is mainly due to my outreach program called the Modular Solar Powered Aquaponic System. This project caters for the upliftment of needy communities through innovative design and renewable energy awareness. My input into the research is engineering. The output is renewable energy, education, and boosting food security in the form of fish and vegetables. It must be because of my diversity to reach across different fields of expertise that I was invited to this prestigious event. Hopefully hereafter I can replace the title of fish farmer with that of industrial designer. Sounds much better. For many years our trades have been working in silos, but no more can we afford to be narrow-minded. If we want to become leaders in the forefront of energy-efficient developers, industrial designers have to look across their field of expertise and start collaborating so that we can accelerate our goals to a cleaner, more energy-wise South Africa. Now, engineers are passionate in getting shafts to turn, and if the shaft doesn't want to turn, we'll kick it till it turns. In this way we can generate electricity, drive a motor car, or fly an aeroplane. I wonder what designers are passionate about. I know now that we share the same ambitions, and these are to protect the environment and provide sustainable livelihoods. If anyone can influence the masses, we all know industrial designers know how to get the message across smartly, cost-effectively, and efficiently. Of course, not without the help of engineers. An example of this is Steve Jobs with Apple. So designers, you know how to do it. Now you need to come and knock on my door or on our door, engineers' doors, and we can help one another to accelerate this process of getting sustainable livelihoods out into the masses. I would like to take this opportunity to give a brief overview of the energy roadmap in South Africa and what inspired me to educate and be educated regarding renewable energy and sustainable design developments. South Africa's energy background. At the turn of the century, the world focus shifted to sustainable energy approach, food security, and reducing the carbon footprint and stimulating economic growth in so doing. South Africa's main energy supplier, Eskom, generates 95% of the country's electricity. Eskom's group interim results indicated more than 83% of this energy is generated by using coal, and the remainder is made up of nuclear, hydro-pump storage, open-cycle diesel turbines, and a small amount through renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, South Africa is in a dilemma: how to improve its energy production without negatively impacting the environment. But not to worry, we have a plan. In 2011, South Africa's then Chief Director of Clean Energy announced a bold vision to improve our energy mix by 30% of clean energy through a long-term plan. This vision is backed by the Integrated Resource Plan, known as the IRP 2010-2030. This plan lays out the new energy plant generation for the future of South Africa energy production. This resource plan is a living plan that gets reviewed and adjusted every 2 years, or so they say. I would like to bring to your attention that this plan, in addition of 17.8 gigawatts of renewable energy generation, was proposed to be added to our existing energy fleet amongst other resources. These renewable energy resources include solar photovoltaics, concentrated solar power, and wind turbine generators. The installation of these renewables were brought forward in order to accelerate our local industry growth. This would increase much needed local job creation when building such new energy plants and installations. Here's an outline. As you can see, the plan, this is the plan for this integrated resource plan. This is what we're aiming for. We have to watch out for this one. Got to get rid of that one. But we'll talk about that later. I've got to look where I stopped. Sorry. Okay. Our Honorable Minister Tina Joemat-Pettersson mentioned in a budget speech in May 2016 that the expansion in our energy sector has enormous potential to generate much needed economic growth, which our country needs. The energy sector, through reindustrialization, skills development, and the creation of employment opportunities, can alleviate unemployment and poverty, and is well on its way in doing so. Our renewable energy independent power producer procurement program, known as the REAP, has become one of the world's most progressive and successful alternative energy program, which is now recognized globally. As at December 2015, the department had procured 6,377 megawatts of renewable energy and has already connected 44 projects with a total capacity exceeding 2,000 megawatts that is now connected to our national grid. Many more projects are under construction since the introduction. Solar power, wind, biomass, small hydro, landfill gas power plants have been going up across the country, feeding increasing quantities of clean energy into the national grid. Our government remains on track to meet the national commitment to transition to a low-carbon economy with the target of 17.8 gigawatts of renewables by 2030. And here I've just taken the liberty to get some of the slides to show you what is going on in our country. It's only a few, but this is just to point out. In the R, you can see we have our PV, our photovoltaic farm, which is producing 175 megawatts. At Bokpoort, you can see the CSP unit that's gone up. Noupoort, we've got 80 megawatt wind turbines. And in Touwsrivier, my favorite is the PV tracking one. We'll be tracking the sun. And then the key solar unit, 50 megawatt steam-driven solar thermal plant. Priska, also a PV plant, producing 86 megawatt. This is all I could fit on one slide, and I don't want to prolong the procession too much, but there's many more. Okay, before we get to this one, South Africa's commitment. In September 2015, the new post-2015 Sustainable Development Agenda was adopted by 193 United Nations member countries. In addition, the Paris Agreement at the COP21 Climate Change Conference in December 2015 signifies a second critical milestone where the world agreed to chart a pathway to a low-carbon energy system to mitigate against impacts of climate change. In October 2015, South Africa became the 6th and the first country in Africa to host the International Renewable Energy Conference, CIREC, known as CIREC. It is the foremost international conference dedicated to renewable energy and provided a global platform for government, the private sector and civil society leaders to advance our renewable energy agenda. The conference was a huge success, drawing participation from more than 80 countries, and notably most of the international organizations active in this space. Now, what is the role of Cape Peninsula University of Technology, known as CPUT, regarding renewable energy? CPUT aims to be at the heart of technology, education and innovation in Africa. It strives to develop students and staff in the areas of scarce skills such as science, technology and innovation. I would like to take this opportunity to explain my inspiration and how smaller projects can make a difference in sustainable livelihoods. I was very fortunate to have been part or involved in some of these conferences as an academic at CPUT. The conferences were namely the COP17, which was held in 2011 in Durban, and later also the CIREC in 2015, that was last year. During this very same year, 2011, of the launch of the Integrated Resource Plan of South Africa, hosted the Conference of Parties COP17 in Durban. I was privileged to have been invited by the Department of Energy to showcase two of my renewable energy projects at this event. The projects, namely low-cost solar water heater and the solar-powered fish farm for needy communities. This is where I earned my title, fish farmer. This event was an eye-opener and life-changing experience for my students and I, and spearheaded my way forward into my research. At the time, little did I know I was experiencing the catapulting of our nation into the start of commitment towards mitigating for better future towards a cleaner, more environmental friendly, energy producing country. This motivation inspired me to ask myself, what can I do to contribute to a brighter future? Sustainable energy design through food security and renewable energy education jumped out at me. This led the way to my successful implementation of the modular solar-powered aquaponics system, boosting food production and educating needy communities in an environmentally friendly way. Just last year, I was invited by the United Nations Women's Organization to exhibit a small scaled-down version of my project at the CIREC. CIREC conference. It was held at the CTICC in Cape Town. Because the Minister of Energy mentioned this project in an opening speech, I was compelled to present at the side event, or at one of the side events. Here I met Deputy Minister of Small Scale Business and Entrepreneurship, Honorable Elizabeth Tabefi, who pledged her support and visit to our university in the near future. Hopefully these connections will later grow this project into wider communities. Maybe lenses could help as well. I'll come knock at your door. All right. Please allow me a few minutes to explain to you what the modular solar-powered aquaponics project is about. This project combines research that's carried out at CPUT and implementing it into a pilot in a needy community. Maybe now I can talk a little bit on the floor. How this project works, just go back. Okay. What we're doing with this project, we're combining new technology with existing technology to control and improve the aquaponics environment to boost food production. The goal of the project is to develop a modular solar-powered aquaponics system, provide sustainable means of food security, and employ renewable energy. To familiarize needy communities with renewable energy, a lot of them don't know what it's about, how it works, and they are actually amazed when they see lights going on or pumps pumping and there's no cord going to a plug. Stimulate entrepreneurship among such needy communities. These are the goals. How do we do it? Stage one. At the university, myself, students, and other colleagues We do all the research work. We have a prototype unit at the university. We collect data. It feeds back in a loop. And then whenever we have a success, we implement that success into the community where we have rolled out a pilot prototype. This way the community is continuously involved in the project, and this is how you get buy-in as well. The community, they produce the protein and produce, they reuse it inside the community, and whatever is excess they can sell later on. Now for those of you who don't know what aquaponics is about, I've taken the liberty to add the slide. Aquaponics consists basically of aquaculture and hydroponics. Aquaculture is where we're growing fish, in our case, in tanks. The fish produces waste in the form of poop or urine. That poop gets circulated through a grow bed where our hydroponics are working, where we plant plants, vegetables in our case. There is no soil. We use rock or what we call volcanic rock, which is very porous because we need to create a little home for bacteria. This bacteria, what it does, it converts the waste generated by the fish into nitrates, which the plants then later eat and grow, or consume rather. The reason why we don't have soil, because like engineers, we like to take the easiest path possible. So if there's no soil and there's rocks, the roots grow much easier. And what we do, we will let the water touch the roots, and then we quickly siphon the water away. In this way, the root goes and look where the water is, and the plant grows much quicker than what it would in a normal agricultural environment. Yeah, so the plants and the fish, they have the symbiotic relationship where the one helps the other. The only human input is into the fish. We feed the fish, and then the system takes care of itself. Now you can see this was designed by mechanical engineers. It's not good looking, and I don't think I can sell it that easily. That's why I need your help. What we have here, let me explain. We've got our fish tanks, which are these two, very crudely insulated. This is the prototype at the university where we do all our experimentation work. We have a sump tank at the bottom. We have a grow out tank on top. We put the smaller fish in the bottom so the big fish don't eat the small ones. And on this side we have our grow bed where we're planting the plants. And this is enclosed by a canopy so that we can control the environment inside. We've got some computer fans on there, some thermocouples measuring temperatures and humidity, etc. And then regulating the environment to encourage quicker growth for the plants. Now the fish that we are breeding, they like the water to be warm, and for that reason we're using a solar thermal collector. What this does, it absorbs the energy that is radiated from the sun. We heat the water through convection. I wouldn't want to go into the theory and bore you with that. But we don't have a pump that circulates the water. We use thermosiphon process where your warm water is less dense than your cold water. So it will continuously circulate on its own as long as there's sun shining on these panels. And we know South Africa's got a lot of sun. The PV panels on top, as you see, this is what we use to generate electricity to power the pumps. There's a pump, a submersible pump in this bottom tank, in the sump tank. And this pump runs 24/7. It's been running for about 2 years now, 2.5 years, consistently. And we haven't touched the system. We've got 4 deep cycle batteries in that box. We've got a charge controller and an inverter because AC pumps are very cheap and readily available, and that's why we're using that kind of pump. Now, breeding with fish, it's not easy, by far. And as engineers, you know, we're used to working with hammers and nails and metal. And we've had quite a few casualties in the meantime, because some of my students, they get excited, they start posing with a fish in their mouth, taking photos, and they get stressed out. And when they get stressed out, they get ill. So it was a major learning curve for engineering students to look after fish. We had to go and investigate. We actually had to medicate the fish just to keep them alive. And that in itself was quite daunting. But nevertheless, we've endured. And you can see these are from the new offspring that we had from the bigger ones that we caught. By the way, these fish we caught on the campus. Some of them are tilapia. They grow in the duck pond. The ducks are not too happy with us farming their fish. Okay, just to show you what is possible, we planted lettuce, which by the way grows very quickly in this environment, tomatoes, and other vegetables. We planted cauliflower, cabbage, just to try a variety of things. We control the environment, we keep it warm or we cool it down, just to see what is the effect on the plants and how the fish can benefit and accelerate their growth rate. And from this, you can see within 35 days from planting a seedling, this is what is being harvested. And these little kids, they are part of the center, the community center. There's 125 of them that are there during the day. They are actually now at the stage where they are germinating seeds. They are being taught to germinate seeds. They plant the seeds into little buckets. When they grow out, they plant them into the grow beds. And then they also participate in the harvest, feeding fish, etc. It calms them. And that is what you need in communities like this. You need to calm the people, make them aware of renewable energy, and then also basically go back to your roots and find out how to plant plants and not just get the stuff from Pick n Pay or the shopping center. Because that's where they tell you when you ask them, where does it come from? You know, the plants, the vegetables, comes from Pick n Pay. Okay, let me go back to the boring bits. Now, when dealing with needy communities, it is necessary to get buy-in. This is by no means an easy task, as building relationships takes much time and effort. There has been many trials and tribulations, but the necessity has pushed us beyond all obstacles. The acceptance and involvement by the community has been exceptional, and they have already won the South African Social Development Awards for first prize for early childhood development program in the Western Cape and nationally this year. So this is quite a big accolade for them. And hopefully with this, they can now start asking government for more money so that they can grow the system much bigger and become independent in that way. Continuous training is critical if changes and mindsets are to be improved and developed in such communities. Now let's get back to government using CPUT and Ceratec as a vehicle to educate the masses. Numerous employment opportunities have been created through the REAP system, the REAP procurement program, specifically aiming at developing and empowering the youth. They also benefit from various education, skills development initiatives, preparing them for hopefully a brighter future. CPT has been in the forefront of this movement with its affiliation with one of the state-of-the-art training facilities on its Belgium campus, namely the South African Renewable Energy Training Center, Ceratec. Ceratec is firstly the first national renewable energy technology center in South Africa and was established at CPUT. According to the operations manager, my colleague and friend, Sven Petringageli, and he forced me to put his name in the speech. According to Sven, the operations manager, Ceratec offers specialized industry-related and accredited training for center renewable energy industry, along with tailored short courses and workshops. The center has received funding from the Department of Higher Education and Training, DHET, through the National Skills Fund, and substantially support from the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development through the South African German Energy Program, the South African National Energy Development Institute, SANEDI, and Green Cape are supporting this venture. As a national center, Ceratec will also endeavor to make locally developed technologies more accessible to renewable energy industry in partnership with education and research institutions in all provinces. Ceratec has established strong partnerships with government, academia, industry, associated and private sector companies within the renewable energy sector. The facility is a green building and is designed to showcase the use of renewable energy and energy efficient technologies. And there's some slides. All I could fit on one slide. Trying to keep it short. That's the building, Ceratec building. These are some of my students standing in front of one of the massive wind turbine blades, composite blades. It's quite impressive to have the students there on the campus. They can walk inside of this turbine blade, they can look at the composites, how it was put together, etc. They've got wonderful lecture theatres, we've got hydraulic workshops, and then an in-house turbine, wind turbine that's dismantled, where students can actually learn how to repair or maintain these massive wind turbines. It's some of the colourful classrooms as well. Okay. Now, why I put this slide together? It's just to point out a few things. Designers must keep a fine balance between keeping designs functional and being aesthetically pleasing. They have to be careful of casting shadows and have to plan ahead for the future developments. Now, if you look at this building here, it's cladded with PV panels. The whole front facade has been cladded with PV panels. Be careful, because the building on the opposite side might just go up higher and then cast a shadow. So you must plan ahead when you do things like this. If you look at this here, aesthetically pleasing, looks beautiful. But be careful, because these panels are casting shadows on these ones at the back here. And that will make it inefficient. And in today's world, we have to harvest as much as we can, wherever we can. So find a good medium when it comes to making things aesthetically pleasing as well as functional. If you look at this is a sound barrier on one of the freeways. It's a good use of space, but be careful. If there's a car accident, if one of the cars would run into those PV panels, that's DC current. It's quite dangerous. So make sure that you have nice strong barriers in front of that wall. I haven't seen this in South Africa yet, but when we do get there, guys, please come and knock on the engineers' doors and ask for the help, because we can advise. We do know a little bit about renewable energy. This is very nice. I thought putting this in is quite cool. This is basically a recharging center for some of these little electric cars, and hopefully in the future I would like to see some of these at our university where we can run around with little cars like this, save energy. Okay, everything is not rosy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are challenged by our power giant Eskom. Now herein lies the irony. Eskom has proposed to stop signing off on independent power producers, IPPs. This is contrary to our government energy policy and is anti-competitive towards IPPs. Eskom has improved its performance and consistently supplied electricity over the past year without electricity cuts and load settings. This is mainly due to the improved disciplined plant maintenance and drop in energy demand within our country. For now, our energy supply seems to be consistent, but this short-term achievement does not mean that we are comfortable for the medium to long-term future. If our economy starts picking up again, we would probably get the short end of the stick. It would take a lot of time and planning to gather the current momentum that we have with our current IPPs, if we should stop now. This will surely take away the positive light that the world sees South Africa in regarding its progressive way in dealing with cleaner energy mix for the future. It is for these reasons that we not only depend on the big powerhouses like Eskom, but show our intentions by embarking on smaller scale renewable energy projects in support of government policy. This will show dedication, motivation for cleaner energy mix for the future of South Africa. So we've got much to do. In conclusion, now is the time for designers to show what they can do, be it the inspiration of powering a building or something as simple as boiling a kettle of water using renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, our country, our government, our university, the EU through its funding of this EduLink program is serious about implementing environmentally friendly change. Are you? If so, you have to ask yourself what you can do to make a change and do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time and enthusiasm. Hopefully there's not enough time for questions. Thank you.